Don't come to Thanksgiving. Your noisy 2-year-old is disturbing everyone, my mom said, glancing at my baby, and my dad added, It would be better without you. I didn't cry. I just didn't show up. Just like my sister's $7,000 mortgage payment didn't show up. On Thanksgiving Day, my phone started exploding. My own mother looked at my baby girl and said, Don't bring her to Thanksgiving. He's too loud, too disruptive. Honestly, Carolyn, it would be better if you just didn't come at all. I'm sorry. Hey, did I hear that right? Did my mother really just uninvite her own granddaughter from Thanksgiving because a 2-year-old acts like a 2-year-old? Yeah, she did. And my dad actually nodded in agreement and said, Your mother's right. The holidays would be more enjoyable without all that noise. I was standing in their kitchen with Emma on my hip, and I swear I felt something crack inside my chest. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. Do you think I should have? This was last October. Emma had just turned 2, and yeah, she's energetic. He's curious. He touches things. She makes noise. She's a literal toddler. But apparently that was too much for my parents to handle during their precious, perfect Thanksgiving dinner. Last year, she knocked over Aunt Linda's wine. Mom said like she was reciting a list of war crimes. And the year before, she cried through the entire meal. People have been talking, Carolyn. They're uncomfortable. People have been talking about my baby like she's some kind of problem that needs to be solved. So, what exactly are you saying? I asked, keeping my voice level even though I wanted to scream. We're saying maybe you should start your own traditions this year, Dad chimed in, not even looking up from his newspaper. At your place, where Emma can be as wild as she wants, without disturbing everyone. Disturbing everyone. My 2-year-old daughter was disturbing everyone. I was about to respond when my sister Vanessa walked in, all designer jeans and highlighted hair, acting like she owned the place. What's going on? She asked, grabbing a LaCroix from the fridge. Nothing important, Mom said quickly, just finalizing Thanksgiving plans. And here's where it gets good. You want to know what Vanessa did while our parents were basically telling me my daughter wasn't welcome at family events? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. She just stood there, sipping her expensive sparkling water, completely silent. But let me tell you what Vanessa had done 3 months earlier. She'd shown up at my apartment at 11:30 at night, makeup smeared all over her face, hyperventilating. She'd been fired from her job. The job she'd been bragging about for 2 years, the job that was supposedly paying for her ridiculous $7,500 a month townhouse in the trendy part of town. Carolyn, please, she begged me. You cannot tell Mom and Dad. Please, I need you to cover my mortgage just until I find something else. Please, I'll pay you back, I swear. And like an idiot, I'd said yes. $7,000. That's what I paid every single month for 3 months straight. $21,000 total, gone from the savings account I'd been building since before Emma was even born. Money I'd been saving for her future, for emergencies, for us. So picture this. I'm standing there being told my daughter isn't good enough for Thanksgiving, and the sister whose entire life I'd been financially supporting for 3 months couldn't even defend me, couldn't even say, hey, maybe we shouldn't kick out a toddler from Thanksgiving. Imagine how that felt. Well, I'll definitely be there, Vanessa announced cheerfully. I'm making that cranberry brie again. Everyone loved it last year. Everyone loved it. Everyone except the person keeping her from being homeless. Apparently, I looked at my parents. I looked at my sister, and I made a decision right there in that kitchen. Okay, I said calmly. We won't come. Enjoy your quiet, peaceful Thanksgiving. Mom actually smiled like she was relieved. I knew you'd understand, honey. This is really for the best. I buckled Emma into her car seat, and she was babbling away, completely oblivious to the fact that her own grandparents had just rejected her, and something inside me shifted, something fundamental. No more. No more being the one everyone uses. No more being the family ATM. No more sacrificing everything for people who wouldn't even let my daughter sit at their table. 4 days before Thanksgiving, my phone rang right on schedule. Hey, Carolyn. So, the mortgage is due on the 3rd. Can you handle it this month? I've got some really promising interviews lined up. I swear this should be the last time. The last time she'd said that last month, too. I said, watching Emma color in her coloring book. So, you'll transfer it today? The bank gets weird if it's late. Have a great day, Vanessa, I said, and I hung up. And then, this is the important part. I didn't make the payment, not that day, not the next day, not ever. What would you have done? The texts started within hours. Carolyn, did you see my voicemail? Then, Carolyn, please call me back. This is urgent. Then, Carolyn, the payment is due tomorrow. I watched every single message come through. I read every one, and I didn't respond to a single one. On Thanksgiving morning, I made chocolate chip pancakes with Emma. We stayed in our pajamas all day. We watched Disney movies. We played with her toys. We made a mess. We were loud, and it was absolutely perfect. Around 2 p.m., my phone started exploding. Not just Vanessa anymore. Mom again, Dad again, back-to-back calls, one after another after another. I let every single one go to voicemail. I knew what was happening. The bank had obviously sent foreclosure notices. Vanessa had obviously broken down and told Mom and Dad everything. The job loss, the mortgage, all of it. And now they needed me. Now my phone number worked. Now I was family again. Isn't that funny how that works? By 6 p.m., I had 47 missed calls. I didn't listen to the voicemails, not yet. I was too busy giving Emma a bath, letting her splash water absolutely everywhere, being as chaotic and loud and 2 years old as she wanted to be. The responsible daughter, the dependable sister, the one who always fixes everything and never complains, that person was done. And honestly, I felt lighter than I had in years. But here's the thing. What happened next made everything that came before look like nothing. Because when I finally did listen to those voicemails, when I finally did read those texts, well, let's just say my family was about to learn exactly what happens when you push the quiet one too far. I waited until Emma was asleep before I finally looked at my phone. 47 missed calls had turned into 63. The text messages were, well, let me just read you some of them. Vanessa, 2:47 p.m. Carolyn, the bank called. They're starting foreclosure proceedings. Please call me back. Mom, 3:15 p.m. Carolyn, your sister just told us everything. We need to talk. Call me immediately. Vanessa, 3:22 p.m. I told them. I had to tell them. Please don't hate me. Please help me. Dad, 4:01 p.m. This is your father. Pick up the phone. This is a family emergency. Vanessa, 4:33 p.m. Carolyn, I'm begging you. I'm going to lose everything. Please. I'm your sister. And then this one from Mom. At 5:18 p.m. I don't know what's going on between you two, but you need to help your sister. Family helps family, Carolyn. That's what we do. I actually laughed out loud at that last one. Did you catch that? Family helps family. That's rich coming from the woman who uninvited my daughter from Thanksgiving because she's too loud. So let me ask you, do you think I was wrong for what I did? Be honest. I poured myself a glass of wine and started listening to the voicemails. The first few were Vanessa, predictably hysterical, crying, begging the whole performance. Then Mom's voice, tight and controlled, trying to sound calm, but clearly furious. Carolyn, I know you're upset about the Thanksgiving situation, but this is serious. Your sister could lose her home. We need you to call us back tonight. The Thanksgiving situation, like it was some minor disagreement about what time dinner should start. Then Dad's voice. Carolyn, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but it ends now. Your mother and I raised you better than this. Call us back. A game. He thought I was playing a game. But the last voicemail, the one that came in at 6:47 p.m., that one was different. It was Vanessa, but she wasn't crying anymore. Her voice was cold, angry. You know what, Carolyn? I get it now. You're jealous. You've always been jealous that Mom and Dad are proud of me, that I have a real career, and a beautiful home and a life. Just because you got pregnant and threw away your potential doesn't mean you get to ruin my life. If I lose this house, it's on you. Everyone will know what you did. Everyone will know what kind of person you really are. I had to replay that one 3 times to make sure I heard it correctly. Jealous. Threw away my potential. What kind of person I really am. This was the same sister who'd sobbed in my arms 3 months ago, who'd promised she'd pay me back, who'd said I was the only person she could trust. No, now I was jealous and vindictive because I stopped funding her lifestyle. I saved that voicemail. I had a feeling I'd need it later. The next morning, Black Friday, my doorbell rang at 8:00 a.m. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. Mom and Dad standing on my front porch, looking grim and determined. I didn't open the door right away. I took my time, made them wait. Do you think that was petty of me? When I finally opened it, Mom pushed past me immediately. "Where's Emma?" "Still asleep. It's 8. 0 inches the morning." "Good. We need to talk." She sat down on my couch like she was preparing for an intervention. Dad stood by the door, arms crossed, looking at me like I was a stranger. "Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?" I asked pleasantly. "Was it peaceful? Quiet?" Mom's jaw tightened. "Don't, Carolyn, don't make this about that." "About what? About you telling me my daughter wasn't welcome at your table?" "We're not here to discuss that," Dad interrupted. "We're here to discuss the fact that your sister is about to lose her home, and you're apparently fine with that." I sat down in the armchair across from them and smiled. Actually smiled. "I'm not fine with it. I'm completely at peace with it." Mom's eyes went wide. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. Vanessa is 32 years old. She bought a house she couldn't afford to impress people who don't care. She lost her job, and instead of downsizing or being honest with you, she manipulated me into paying her mortgage for 3 months. $21,000, by the way, in case you were wondering." Dad's expression flickered, just for a second. "She said it was only 2 months." "She lied. Shocking, right?" I leaned forward. "And you want to know the best part? While I was draining my savings account to keep your golden child from facing consequences, she couldn't even speak up when you uninvited your granddaughter from Thanksgiving. She stood there silent while you told me my 2-year-old was too disruptive for the family." "That's different," Mom started. "How? How is it different?" "Family helps family, right? Isn't that what you said in your text? But apparently, that only applies when Vanessa needs something." The room went quiet. I could hear the clock ticking on the wall. Somewhere upstairs, Emma started making her morning babbling sounds through the baby monitor. "So what do you want?" Dad asked finally. "You want us to apologize?" "Fine. We're sorry about Thanksgiving. Now help your sister." "Would you have accepted that apology?" I stood up. "Get out of my house," Mom gasped. "Carolyn, get out. You don't get to show up here and demand that I fix Vanessa's problems. You don't get to give me a fake apology just to manipulate me into opening my wallet again. And you definitely don't get to sit on my couch and act like you have any moral authority here." "We're your parents," Dad said, his voice rising. "You don't talk to us like that." "You're right. Parents don't uninvite their grandchildren from holidays. So maybe you should figure out what you actually are. Because right now you're just 2 people who only call when they need something." They left. Mom was crying, Dad was furious, and honestly, I felt absolutely nothing. Just cold, clear certainty that I'd done the right thing. But here's what I didn't know. Vanessa was outside in her car watching the whole thing, and what she did next, that's when this whole situation went from bad to nuclear. Because my sister, the one I'd protected and supported and bailed out over and over again, she was about to show me exactly who she really was, and trust me, very soon you'll understand why I don't regret a single thing I did. For 2 days, nothing. Complete radio silence from my entire family, and honestly, it was kind of nice. Emma and I had our little routine, and for the first time in months, I wasn't stressed about money or checking my phone every 5 minutes to see what crisis Vanessa had manufactured. Then Sunday morning, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hi, Carolyn. This is Marcus Chin. I'm a reporter with the Lakewood Tribune. I'm working on a story about family financial abuse and elder manipulation, and your sister Vanessa provided us with some concerning information about your parents. Would you be willing to comment? I read that text 5 times. What the hell? Before I could even process it, my phone rang. Unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Miss Patterson, this is Marcus Chin. Did you get my text? Yes. What is this about? Your sister reached out to our newsroom 3 days ago with documentation suggesting that you've been financially exploiting your elderly parents. She provided bank statements showing regular transfers from their retirement account to yours, totaling over $50,000 in the past year. She's alleging elder financial abuse. The room started spinning. That's not what happened. Those transfers weren't from my parents, they were... And then it hit me. The recordings. The text messages. The bank statements. Vanessa hadn't just thrown me under the bus, she'd completely fabricated a story using real financial transactions, but flipping the entire narrative. Do you see what she did? This wasn't just petty revenge. This was calculated destruction. Mr. Chin, my sister is lying. Those transfers were me paying her mortgage after she lost her job. My parents had nothing to do with it. That's not what the bank statements show. The account name is Richard and Margaret Patterson. Your parents? My blood ran cold. What account? The joint account at Cascade Federal Credit Union. Your sister provided statements showing monthly withdrawals of $7,000, all transferred to an account in your name. Vanessa had been stealing from our parents the whole time. I thought I was paying her mortgage from my savings. She'd been funneling money from Mom and Dad's retirement account into some account she'd set up in my name, and then probably moving it right back to herself. I'd been the money laundering middleman without even knowing it. Imagine finding that out. Just imagine. Mr. Chin, I need to call you back. I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial. I called my bank first. I need to know if there are any accounts in my name that I didn't open. 15 minutes later, I had my answer. Yes, there was an account open 8 months ago. Online application, my name, my social security number, my mother's maiden name as the security question. Vanessa had stolen my identity. I called Mom. She didn't answer. Called Dad. Voicemail. I called Vanessa. She picked up on the first ring. Hey, Carolyn! Her voice was sickeningly cheerful. Get my message? What the hell did you do? Oh, you talked to the reporter. Good. I wasn't sure if he'd actually reach out to you. Turns out financial elder abuse is a really hot topic right now, especially when there's clear documentation. You stole from Mom and Dad. You set up an account in my name and stole from their retirement. She laughed. Actually laughed. Prove it. The account is in your name. The statements show transfers to you, and I've already given a very tearful interview about how I suspected something was wrong, but didn't want to believe my own sister could do something so horrible. They'll figure it out. The bank will have records of an online account opened with your information, your IP address. Actually, I used your Wi-Fi when I stayed over at your place last summer. Remember when Emma had that ear infection and you let me crash for a week? Yeah. I did a lot of important computer work that week. What would you do if your own sister did this to you? I couldn't breathe. Why? Why would you do this? Because you were supposed to help me, Carolyn. You're my sister. You're supposed to fix things for me, not abandon me when I need you most. But you wanted to teach me a lesson. Or whatever, so now I'm teaching you one. Mom and Dad's retirement fund is about $40,000 lighter, and as far as anyone knows, you're the one who took it. I'll tell them the truth. I'll show them. Show them what? That you paid my mortgage? That doesn't prove you didn't also steal from them. In fact, it kind of makes you look more desperate for money, doesn't it? She paused. Oh, and by the way, I already told Mom and Dad that you confessed to me that you were jealous of their retirement savings while you struggled as a single mom, and you thought they'd never notice small withdrawals. They believe me, Carolyn. Want to know why? I didn't answer. Because I'm the successful one. I'm the one they're proud of. And you? You're just the one who got knocked up and ruined her life. When I tell a story, they believe it. When you tell a story, they think you're making excuses. She hung up. I stood there in my kitchen, phone in my hand, and for the first time since this whole thing started, I actually cried. Not sad crying, rage crying. The kind of crying where you're so angry you can't even see straight. Emma toddled over and hugged my leg. Mama's sad. Yeah, baby. Mama's sad. I picked her up and held her close. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. It clarifies things. I wasn't going to let Vanessa win. I wasn't going to let her destroy my life and steal from our parents and get away with it just because she was good at playing victim. I called someone I never thought I'd call, someone I'd cut out of my life years ago, because Mom and Dad said she was toxic and unstable and I should stay away from her. I called my grandmother, my dad's mother, the one who'd been disinherited for causing family drama. She answered on the second ring. Carolyn, is that really you? Hi, Grandma Dorothy. I need help, and I think you might be the only person who will believe me. Tell me everything, sweetheart. And I did, every single detail. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then my 7-8-year-old grandmother said something I'll never forget. Oh, honey, your sister just made the biggest mistake of her life. You see, there's a reason your father cut me off, and it wasn't because I caused drama. It was because I wouldn't let him hide his. What do you mean? I mean, your grandmother knows where all the bodies are buried, literally and figuratively, and if Vanessa wants to play dirty, well, I invented dirty. Pack a bag for you and Emma. You're coming to stay with me for a few days, and bring your laptop. We've got work to do. What do you think my grandmother knew? That afternoon, I loaded Emma into the car and drove 3 hours to Grandma Dorothy's house in Cedar Falls, a place I hadn't been since I was 12 years old. And what I learned over the next 48 hours didn't just change everything about this situation. It changed everything I thought I knew about my entire family. Grandma Dorothy's house was exactly how I remembered it. A small cottage with wind chimes on the porch and a garden that looked like controlled chaos. She opened the door before I even knocked. Look at this beautiful girl, she said, scooping Emma up immediately, then looking at me with sharp eyes. Come on, we've got work to do. She wasn't kidding. We got Emma settled with a movie, and then Grandma led me to her dining room table. It was covered in file folders, some yellowed with age. First, she said, pulling out her laptop. Yes, my 7-8-year-old grandmother had a laptop. We document everything. Every text, every voicemail, every bank statement, screenshot it all. Vanessa wants to play with evidence. We're going to bury her in it. But she opened accounts in my name, which is identity theft, a federal crime. Grandma opened one of the folders. Now let me tell you something about your father you don't know. What she told me next made my head spin. 30 years ago, my dad's sister Jennifer died in a car accident. Except it wasn't an accident. Her husband killed her. The police knew it. Grandma knew it. But the case was closed anyway because Daniel Carpenter's family had money. My dad took Jennifer's life insurance, $200,000, and built his entire business career on it. I tried to get justice for my daughter, Grandma said quietly. And Richard cut me out of the family for it. Told everyone I was crazy with grief. She'd been collecting evidence ever since. Financial records, police reports, witness statements, everything. But how does this help me with Vanessa? Because your father built his life on lies, and the one thing he can't afford is real scrutiny. She pulled out another folder with recent bank statements. I've been monitoring your parents' accounts. Those withdrawals Vanessa blamed on you. They started 8 months ago, but there's another set that started 2 years ago. Smaller, more frequent, totaling $75,000, all going to an account in Vanessa's name. Do you see what this means? Vanessa had been stealing from them for 2 years at minimum, and when I reported her for identity theft, the investigation would find everything, including where my dad's money really came from, including Vanessa's 2-year theft scheme. Your sister wanted to destroy you, but she's about to destroy all of them. My grandmother looked at me seriously. I don't want you doing this for revenge. I want you doing this because it's right. Vanessa committed real crimes. If you don't stop her now, she'll do it again. Maybe to Emma someday. That's what decided it. Not anger. The thought of Vanessa doing this to my daughter. What do we do? We call that reporter back and give him the real story. Then we call the police. Then we call a lawyer I know, she smiled. And then we order pizza. And let Emma destroy my living room while her mother takes out the trash. Over 3 days, Grandma orchestrated everything. Police reports, lawyers, an interview with Marcus Chin, complete with documentation, fraud investigations at the bank. 1 week after Thanksgiving, the article dropped. Local woman accused of identity theft and elder financial abuse. But the real story may be worse. Marcus hadn't just printed Vanessa's lies, he'd investigated. And what he found made the local news Vanessa, unknown numbers. I ignored all of them except one. Miss Patterson, this is Detective Amanda Rodriguez, Financial Crimes Unit. We need to talk about your sister, your parents, and a substantial amount of missing money. What they found was worse than even Grandma suspected. Vanessa hadn't just stolen from our parents for 2 years. She'd been running a credit card scheme using Mom's information, racking up $40,000 in debt. She'd forged Dad's signature on a home equity loan. She'd even filed fake tax returns. And here's the part that shocked everyone. Mom knew. She'd known for at least a year and had been covering for Vanessa, moving money around, paying minimums on the credit cards. Your mother thought she could fix it quietly, Detective Rodriguez told me. She didn't want your father to know how bad it was. But when Vanessa set me up, when she created that fake account in my name, she triggered automatic fraud alerts. The bank had been investigating for 2 weeks before Vanessa even went to the reporter. Your sister walked into a sting operation, thinking she was framing you, the detective said. Instead, she confessed to everything on record, thinking she was safe. 3 days later, Vanessa was arrested. Fraud, identity theft, forgery, embezzlement. The charges kept piling up. Mom called me finally. Carolyn, please, you have to help her. She's your sister, she made mistakes, but she doesn't deserve this. What would you have said? She tried to destroy my life. She stole my identity. She was going to let me go to prison. She was desperate. She wasn't thinking clearly. She was thinking clearly enough to use my Wi-Fi to cover her tracks, clearly enough to give interviews to reporters. She knew exactly what she was doing. Mom started crying. Please, Carolyn, I'm begging you. Drop the charges. We'll pay back the money. We'll get her help, please. The charges aren't mine to drop anymore. The state is prosecuting. This is out of my hands. I paused. You knew, didn't you? You knew she was stealing. Silence. You knew, and you let her set me up anyway. I thought if we just had more time, we could fix everything without anyone getting hurt. Without anyone getting hurt? Mom, she tried to frame me for elder abuse. I could have lost Emma. That's when something unexpected happened, something I never saw coming. My dad called. Carolyn, I need to see you alone. There's something I need to tell you. Something about your mother and Vanessa. And about you. And what he told me changed absolutely everything. I met my dad at a coffee shop halfway between our houses. He looked like he'd aged 10 years in 2 weeks. I know Dorothy told you about Jennifer, he said immediately. She was right about all of it. I just waited. Daniel killed her, and I took the money and built my life on it. I've been lying for 30 years. He rubbed his face. Watching Vanessa try to destroy you to save herself, I saw myself. I can't keep doing this. Why are you telling me now? I'm done lying. Done protecting Vanessa from consequences. Done pretending. He looked at me. You're not my biological daughter. Margaret told you? Grandma did? He nodded. When your mother got pregnant, I chose to stay. I chose to be your father. But somewhere along the way, I started resenting it. Started favoring Vanessa because she was really mine. He was crying now. You were so good, Carolyn, so responsible. But every time I looked at you, I was reminded of Margaret's affair. What would you have felt hearing that? Vanessa knew, he continued, about you not being mine. Margaret told her years ago to make her feel less guilty about using you. She thought she was helping. He shook his head. I'm testifying against Vanessa. cooperating with the investigation into Jennifer's death. They're reopening it, and I'm divorcing your mother." I did not see that coming. Margaret enabled all of this. She knew what Vanessa was doing and helped cover it up. He looked at me. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I want to be in Emma's life. The grandfather I should have been at Thanksgiving. You have to earn that," I said quietly. "And you have to make things right with Grandma Dorothy. I already went to see her. We talked for 6 hours. He smiled sadly. "She's tougher than I remembered. She's the only one who showed up for me." "I know, and I'm sorry." 3 months later, everything had changed. Vanessa took a plea deal, 5 years probation, full restitution, and she lost the townhouse. Last I heard, she was in a studio apartment working retail, finally living within her means. Mom moved to Portland to live with her sister. We spoke once. She apologized, sort of, but mostly wanted to know if I'd convinced Dad to reconsider the divorce. I said no. Dad kept his word. He testified, helped Grandma get justice for Jennifer. Daniel Carpenter was finally charged with murder. At 73, he'd probably die in prison. And Dad started therapy, actually working on himself. He asked to see Emma once a month supervised. I said yes, but on my terms. The first time he showed up, he got down on Emma's level. "Your grandpa made bad mistakes. I said things about you that were wrong. You're not too loud. You are perfect exactly as you are, and I'm sorry." Emma just laughed and handed him a toy dinosaur. "Do you think I made the right choice letting him back in?" Over the months, Dad showed up consistently. He learned Emma's schedule, her favorite books. He asked about my life and actually listened. It wasn't perfect. Some days I still felt angry, but slowly we were building something real. Grandma Dorothy became our anchor. Emma spent weekends at her house. I learned about Jennifer, my aunt I never knew. Grandma helped me understand I came from strong women, even if I'd been surrounded by weak people. 6 months later, we had dinner together. Me, Emma, Dad, and Grandma Dorothy at her dining room table, where this whole plan started. "To family," Grandma said, raising her glass. "The one we choose, the one we fix, and the one we rebuild." Dad raised his glass, tears in his eyes. "To second chances we don't deserve." I looked at Emma, happily smashing peas on her plate. "To telling the truth," I said. "Even when it's hard. Is this perfect?" Vanessa and I haven't spoken. Mom sends birthday cards I don't open. There's still pain and scars, but Emma has a grandfather who shows up. I have a grandmother who fought for me. And I have proof that standing up for yourself is worth it. My daughter will grow up knowing she's never too loud, never too much, never unwelcome. She'll watch her mother set boundaries and demand respect. She'll have a family that chose honesty over comfort. Maybe that's the real revenge. Not destroying people who hurt you, but building something better from the wreckage. So what do you think? Did I handle this right? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed my story, please like it. It really helps. And if you think I should have done something differently, share your opinion. I read everything. Thank you for listening. Sometimes the hardest part about family is learning when to walk away and when to let them earn their way back. And remember, you're never too loud or too much. You're exactly enough.